Okay, so I'm going to show you how I make sampled beats. Basically just taking a sample, chopping it, and turning it into something completely different or not recognizable from the original. So first thing I did was took a sample from a cappella group or a singing group, jazz vocal group. You probably recognize the group if you've ever heard the song Players by Slum Village, which sampled a song by the same group, which is Jay Dilla on the production for that song. He sampled a song by this group called Claire. Pretty well known sample. We really flipped it. I mean, like, he took like the very end of the song and made it into like a whole new thing. So anyway, I'm gonna play the sample that I took.
Summer, you old Indian summer, you're the tear that comes after Junetime's laughter. You see so many dreams that don't come true.
I like that. I like that.
Dreams we fashion when summertime was.
So that's not the whole sample because it's 3 minutes long, but that's, that first 40 seconds really caught my ear with those cool harmonies. So I figured, it's no drums in this. I can just chop it up, take the parts I really like, and make something cool with it. So first thing I did was brought in GarageBand, chopped up the parts I liked, which are here. So these are the chops. I'm just going to play a few of them. If you notice, I chopped them into separate, like, even smaller pieces from the, original part. For example, these three clustered together were originally, combined into one chop. Those, ooh, but I just took, every individual pitch that it changed and chopped it even into smaller pieces. So then I came up here, brought it onto the keyboard on the pads. Here. So those are the chops. First chop I did was the introduction, which was this. So pretty basic. I didn't want to use it for any of the verse or chorus because it was too simple. Then I liked two sets of chops together. So the first one was, I think, and then I liked how that blended into this. Holding the camera too, so yeah, so I combined those in for the verse, and then for the chorus I did basically, and then I added in some other background layered sample that you'll see in a few minutes. So basically what I came up with the verse, well actually I'll play the introduction first. So I came up with this with the introduction. Let me just mute this. Okay. Hear that chop right there. That's the introduction, and then here comes the second part right here. thing I didn't talk about yet was the drums. If I put on a basic, straight eighths hip-hop beat, it wouldn't have matched well with the sample. So this took a lot of playing around with, and I figured I would try something I haven't tried, which was kind of like a neo-soul funk beat rhythm. So basically what I did was, first I took a snare drum. That snare drum, put it on 2-on-4 quantized, but then took a clap, I layered a clap over it, which was, if I can find it, that. But I didn't quantize that when I recorded it, so it kind of got like a natural feel with it. Added in like a synthy bass drum. Can't find it. Where is it? Oh, it's this one. This one. I originally had like an acoustic kick drum, but I figured that this one sounded a lot more neo-soul-y. So, and then to keep it funky, I didn't quantize the kick drum either, but I had kind of like a swing rhythm with it. And the hi-hats are just 1, 2, 3, 4, no eighths or anything. Just wanted to keep it that kind of, having on the fourth kind of brought like a lot of air between the beat and got me moving with it. So then I added the bass, again, not quantized, just recorded. I just found what key the sample was in and just messed around on the bass. You can't hear it with these really crappy monitors, but I'll have the download link in the description. You can listen to the whole beat with headphones and you'll hear the bass. Really cool synth bass. I added that in. Added in some, like echoey, subtle piano, just to kind of go along with the spacey vibe of the whole thing. With the verse, after 8 bars, I didn't want to just loop the same thing, so I layered another part of the sample. I layered this. And some other stuff together with this, with the original chops. You can kind of hear them in the background. Okay, so that kind of gave him some variation. For the chorus, which is the fourth part of the whole thing, I brought in this. It's the fourth chop I found and I liked. Layered some more samples. So you notice that I added in some eighth notes on the hi-hat to the second part to kind of just finally get the groove. What I did with the verse was really cool. I had this. First off, let me go to it. Alright, that sounds cool, but I didn't want it to repeat the whole time. So then I added this chop sample. So that was to give it some variation and to give it some more harmony, which is something that really is useful, going through the chops you have and the ones you haven't used, and see, here it is right here. I'm on the wrong thing. Here. Obviously, some of these wouldn't blend well. Not all the sample can blend well with other parts. I just had to go through and find that went perfectly with the verse. So basically I repeated the verse I did earlier, but then added in some cool laser sound effects that I found in the software instrument library. So that kind of gave it like even a more spacey vibe. and I brought back the chorus for the second time. I don't think I did anything too much different here. The bass line changes quite a bit in this song. You can't really tell with the what did I do? Oh, here I brought, in the final little section, I brought in these strings. You can't really even notice them though. Where is it? It's just, for some more variation. The drum fills continue, the triplet drum fills for, even more drum variation. And then, I always like to finish off my beat by just resolving. So basically, when you find a sample, you just want to find as much of the sample that you like as possible, and then just find what goes best with which. This is probably a more rare kind of sample. Sometimes a lot of times you find a sample with drums, and you gotta find it. You have to loop it to the right tempo, and the samples with drums are a lot harder to work with because, it's the drums in the sample kind of screw everything up with what you want to do. They're really loud and, you know what I mean. It's just, it's an actual drummer too, so the beat isn't always perfectly on time, and that can kind of like bug you if you're like a perfectionist. But this sample didn't have any drums, all a cappella, so I could just go through the whole thing, find what I liked, and blend it together. One last thing is when you get a lot of chops together, you're never going to use all of them, so don't try to. If you have like four different chops and they blend together well, don't try and screw it up with adding more things, because that can, if they don't fit well, then it's not going to work and it's going to ruin the whole thing. So I could have added even more variation, but I didn't, because I tried mixing different stuff together, and some of it didn't work, didn't really stay on key. So I just liked the vibe of what I had, keeping it simple, but adding subtle changes to it, and it really catches people off guard sometimes, which is really good. So basically that's what I did here. If you didn't know how I got the sample into GarageBand and chopped it up so I could play it on the keyboard, I have a video on that. It's pretty I explain it pretty well. And this keyboard is called the Akai MPK61. It's pretty good. I can't really tell like all the capabilities of it because GarageBand is such a basic program, and you can't really, I can't use the faders or anything with it. I can use it with Live Light, which is the program that came with the keyboard, but it's really confusing. The actual program is really confusing. So eventually I'll get Logic Express, but I gotta stay with this for now, which is okay. I don't use like any GarageBand sounds. It's all sampled, or drums I find samples and I chop up the drums. Piano is sometimes recorded live on my piano. So that's basically it. That's how I found this. That's what I did with the sample. And the beat's called Mars. And as I said, it'll be $3, I think, to buy it if you want to use it. That gives you all the rights you need. It's really cheap, and it's a really great beat. And if you want some changes with it, you can just email me and I'll change anything you want for free once you buy it. So, any questions? Message.